Welcome back to Aquatic Australia. Today we're diving off motor vessel Balaton Jack for a winter dive to Marmion Marine Park. For our first dive, I anchored the boat at a new site I've wanted to try for a while. It's on the outer side of Marmion Reef, on the North Perth coast. Here, June is winter. Mornings were very cold, as low as 1 to 2 Celsius, but as the day warmed up we got to 19 to 20 Celsius. Inshore and in the river it's about 16 Celsius, but out here we're far enough offshore that the warm Leeuwin current from the north brings clear 20 Celsius water near the surface, but at 12 meters depth the visibility gets murky and the temperature drops 3 degrees Celsius in just a few feet. The reef has some nice 4-meter high ridges. On the sides of the reef there is kelp or rock with large soft corals and colourful sponges, but the top of the reef has lots of hard corals such as plate corals and brain corals. There are also many ledges for cray and reef fish, like this red foxfish. These beautifully coloured fish are part of the wrasse family, named Bodianus frenchi. They are wonderfully curious fish and will follow a diver around hoping to pick up a tidbit or two from any sand the diver might stir up with their fins. Further along the reef I spot a nudibranch, a brightly coloured sea slug named Chromodorus west australiensis. This pretty sea slug is named after our state. They're brightly coloured to warn animals not to eat them, as they are poison. We briefly glimpse a western blue devilfish who then hides. Then Roy examines a beautiful orange fan-shaped sponge. We head back across the central ridge from the eastern side, back west towards our boat, passing soft corals at the top. A school of damselfishes hovers over the ridgeline. Beyond them, a school of bullseyes. A wrasse swims towards us, with 2 of our divers in the background as we converge on the boat. At just about the expected point in my navigation plan, the boat hove into view above us. We stay down a bit longer, staying around the anchor while we have some extra air, and I spot a sea hare. This is a nudibranch that is much bigger than the little nudibranch we saw earlier. Sea hares are the largest nudibranch in the world. Occasionally large storms can wash these guys up on the beach in numbers. Dogs get sick or die even from eating them, so be careful. Our air and time now running low, it's time to ascend. We carry out our safety stops and then surface. For our second dive, I decide on an old favourite nearby, Rose Reef. It's often good fun to explore a new spot and then to dive an old favourite second. This site was further inshore, but the warm Leeuwin current was flowing here. Also it was quite clear. This reef has more caves and bigger walls than most in the area of Centaur Reef. We find ourselves in a crater with walls. In a cave cut into the wall, we see a goatfish. These have long moustache or barbules used for finding food in the sand. In between the rocks, the kelp wafts in the swell. In between the kelp, we find a scorpionfish and we follow it for a while. These well-camouflaged fish usually sit on the bottom, but occasionally they move about the reef, stopping in different places, hoping to blend back in again and find a good ambush spot. These fish have poisonous spines on their back. Further along the reef, we find another cave. Inside, it's full of bullseye fish. I head inside the cave, which is bigger than it looks. Looking back, I see Roy come to the entrance and look in. It's not a silty cave, but even so I'm careful not to go too far in. Leaving the cave, we head back towards the boat. On the way, we pass a school of skipjack trevally who circle us again and again, coming close to see if we have any food. In between the ridges on the sea bend, I find coarse sand with bedrock pushing up through the sand. This isn't the normal limestone. Our air and dive time nearly up, we head back up towards the boat. As we ascend to stop depth, the water warms up several degrees and becomes clearer as we enter the warm, clear water from the Leeuwin current from the north. It's like getting into a hot bath again after the cold water down below. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for joining us on Aquatic Australia. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel and tell your friends. Let's take a look at the still photos from the day.